We might have a new director of AARO. At least that's what Ross Coulthart and Bryce Zabel from the Need to Know podcast have proposed, a particular person. We're going to jump into who they think should be the new director of AARO. There's a deputy director of AARO that's been announced, and he is the interim acting director because Sean Kirkpatrick of AARO, the All-Domain Anomalous Resolution Office, has left, right? He has retired. So they put in an acting deputy director in his place. And now they're looking for a permanent figure to take over the head of AARO. And Ross Coulthart and Bryce Zabel have proposed somebody. So let's take a look at who they think that should be and jump in. This is Patrick with Vetted. Let's get going. Yeah, y'all, I'm still on vacation. I'm here in Austin, Texas. This will be my last video here, though, because I'm headed back home later today. So if you do like the content, hit the like button. And as always, leave a comment down below of what you think, who this new director of AARO should be, and what do you think? Do you agree with Ross Coulthart and Bryce Zabel, who they're proposing for the new director of AARO? And if you haven't, please subscribe. That helps us out a lot. All right, let's jump in. All right, so here's the tweet that I saw from Mike Colangelo. All right, it says... right here, it says, Karl Nell could be the new director of AARO. Ross Coulthart and Bryce Zabel say that Karl Nell is one of the candidates for the new director of AARO. There is some pushback though, from the DoD. As you know, Karl Nell supported David Grush in the debrief article and agrees that the U.S. has crash retrieval programs with non-human craft. All right, so, and also part of this tweet that Mike Colangelo put, he put, if Karl Nell actually becomes the new head of AARO and still nothing is revealed, I think that is game over. In my opinion, everyone should be rooting for this, believers and skeptics. Don't you want this to finally end? Don't you want to find out if any of this is true or not? Yes, we do. My God. Karl Nell said that the U.S. had non-human craft. Put him in charge and let's get this over with. DoD shouldn't be concerned if nothing is there. So let's take a look at this clip here from the podcast of Ross Coulthart and Bryce Zabel talking about this. All right, 1 second. Okay, let's go.
Well, I'm sure we both have heard things and people are talking and on the internet, but I don't know that I'm seeing anything definitive. I know that one of your sources from your book was one of the...
And we're going to find out who Karl Nell is. All right, so just so you know.
Was that Karl Nell that was one of the people
he was a source for Leslie Kean and Ralph Blumenthal for their debrief story. Right. And he provided the support for David Grush in the original David Grush story that appeared in the debrief that broke the story of David Grush. And
we're going to take a look at that debrief article, so hang on.
Unequivocally backed David Grush to the hilt as a person of integrity and vouched for what he was saying, which is quite extraordinary because, one, he's a full bird colonel, and two, he's a hugely well-respected person inside the US defense community. And yes, I've heard his name is being mooted as a potential candidate, but there are other names, and I know there's a pushback from defense. The Defense Department, I'm sure, are very probably going to be trying to get their own candidate. Frankly, I do not for the life of me, Bryce, I'll have this say, I do not for the life of me understand why, if this is meant to be an oversight body, reviewing the integrity of the Defense Department and heeding the requirements of law to ensure that they've done the right thing as far as oversight goes and transparency on UAPs, why the hell do we give the Pentagon or the intelligence community any input at all into the appointment of who it would be? And I think this is just a sad reflection on the extent of the power of the national security establishment in Washington, that even though I hear that Colonel Karl Nell is by far and away the most exemplary candidate for the job, it's still a subject of some debate inside the defense hierarchy who gets the job.
Okay, there you go. So let's take a look here. This is an article, just real quick, about Kirkpatrick leaving and who they brought in. Okay, so look, the Pentagon announced that Tim Phillips has been appointed the Deputy Director of AARO. Phillips will lead the office in an acting role until the Pentagon hires a permanent for Kirkpatrick's role. So it says, Phillips brings to AARO his extensive experience in geospatial intelligence collection and mission management, expertise that is critical to enabling DoD and intelligence community components to successfully identify, characterize, and resolve UAPs. So honestly, it is possible that they promote Tim Phillips to director instead of deputy director. That is possible. If they can't find a replacement, I could just see them making him, right? Who was the previous deputy director of AARO? I don't know. Sean Kirkpatrick is really the only name I know from AARO, right? Does anyone else know who was the previous deputy director, or did they just not have that before and they created this? That's interesting. So here's the debrief article that that gets mentioned right here. I'll put a link to it so you guys can check it out, right? And it's down into the article. It starts talking about Karl Nell. So let's find out who this is. Karl E. Nell, a recently retired Army colonel and current aerospace executive who was the Army's liaison for the UAP task force from 2021 to 2022 and worked with Grush there, characterizes Grush as beyond reproach. And this is a picture of Karl Nell right here in all his glory. Thank you, Mr. Nell, for your service. So there's a couple other quotes here from Nell that I want to read that I thought were good. Okay, where is it? Sorry guys, we're getting to it here. I had it pulled up and it disappeared on me. Okay, right here. His assertion concerning, he's talking about Grush, okay? His assertion concerning the existence of terrestrial arms race occurring sub rosa over the past 80 years focused on reverse engineering technologies of unknown origin is fundamentally correct, as is the indisputable realization that at least some of these technologies of unknown origin derive from non-human intelligence. All right, said Karl Nell, the retired Army colonel who worked with Grush on the UAP task force. So again, this is the debrief article that came out in June before the News Nation interview, not very much before, like a week or something, came out. So this was really the first, splash of David Grush to the world, right? Out to the world was this article. And Karl Nell is obviously supporting him through this. So that's the quote that they're using to say that, right, that Michelangelo said that Karl Nell believes this stuff, right? As you know, Karl Nell supported David Grush in the debrief article and agrees that the U.S. has crash retrieval programs with non-human craft. So that's the quote they're using, right, for that. So I don't know. What do y'all think, right? And this right here, look at this. In a 2022 performance evaluation, Laura A. Potter, Deputy Chief of Staff for Intelligence, Headquarters, Department of the Army, described Nell as an officer with the strongest possible moral compass. So there you go. Should Karl Nell, right? Should he be leading AARO? Should he be our new AARO director? Right? Who do we want as director of AARO? Does it matter to us? Right? Do we get a say in it? Is this the DoD? Right? There should be some sort of say from the public. I don't think that would be such a bad idea if they were to present certain people and then we got to vote on who it was. I mean, why is that bad? Why is this not an elected position? I almost think this UAP director should be an elected position to some extent. Because again, as I said before in other videos, right, if Sean Kirkpatrick people weren't happy with him in AARO, the office of AARO, and supposedly had this secret council, right, that was deciding everything, made up of the, people from these programs that he's supposed to be investigating, then what does it matter who you put in charge, right? Isn't it just going to be the same stuff, right? The same, like, what's going to change? What can somebody new come in and do, right? I don't know. Would having Karl Nell, who supports David Grush and his claims, is that somebody we want in AARO? Yeah, I mean, you're right. It would be great to have someone that thinks there is something here and supports that, sees this as a credible investigation and wants to look into it. You're right. That would be good to have in AARO. So, look, supposedly as well, I don't have the article pulled up, but they had already interviewed, in another article about Sean Kirkpatrick and him leaving the office and all of that, they said they've already interviewed, right? They said 4 people. That was the exact number they gave. They've already interviewed 4 people for the new director position. So, and Ross Coulthart is kind of implying that he's one of the 4. Karl Nell is. So if he is even in the interview process, that's already a win, a plus, right? That they're even considering someone like that. Right? So, I don't know. What do y'all think? Should Karl Nell be the head of AARO? Does it matter who's the head of AARO, right? Maybe it doesn't matter because the office is it's burnt. It's not going to work. It doesn't matter what you do. No matter who you get in, they're still going to have all the bureaucracy and all the red flags and red tape and red layers to go through just to get us answers, right? UAP transparency, right? You still have to work within the government, investigating the government. Right? So it's like internal affairs in a police department, right? They're looking into their own kind, if you will, right? So I don't know if this would make a difference or not, but would it be a step in the right direction? Yeah. But I also think just because Karl Nell, let's say he got the position, just because anything didn't come of it doesn't mean it's all bullshit either. Right? Again, the office could be pushing back on him and not letting him do what he needs to do, right? Which could have been the case for Sean Kirkpatrick, to be fair, right? We don't know all the details inside. We think we do. We think we know everything out here, but there is no way anyone pretending to know what's happening inside the Pentagon and the DOD and all the conversations that take place behind the scenes. There is no way anyone knows what's going on. They can pretend to know. They can tell you, it's obvious. You can't see it, Patrick. It's right there in front of you. That doesn't mean anything. That's not proof or evidence, right? Unfortunately, it's just not. I don't think we'll ever know Sean Kirkpatrick's true nature and intent and the office of AARO. I mean, unless I don't know. I don't think it, me personally, I don't think it matters who they put in charge of AARO. I just don't think it matters. And I know Mike Colangelo right here, his other tweet saying, if Karl Nell actually becomes a new head of AARO and still nothing is revealed, I think that is game over. I don't agree with that. Because I don't think AARO, if let's say AARO, it's just a bullshit office anyway. So what would it matter? I don't think it's game over. I don't think I don't agree with that. So I honestly, again, I don't know if it matters who we put in charge of AARO. But anyway, that's my opinion. So look, I'll let you guys decide. Y'all tell me in the comments. What do y'all think? Karl Nell, somebody else? Who else could be a good candidate to be the new director of AARO? Let me know. Do you even think Sean Kirkpatrick should have left? I'm sure most of y'all will say yes. But who knows? Maybe there's a few of you out there. Again, let's say they put someone in you like, and now they don't give you the answers you want. Are you going to hate them too? Is it just you're only going to like who gives you the answers you want or the answers you think are true? Right? Does that make sense? Like, I don't know. So I can't wait to read the comments on this, to be honest with you. So again, thank you guys so much for supporting the channel. All the videos do really well, and I really appreciate all the support. I couldn't do this without every one of you. So if you're still watching to the end of this video, I just want to say thank you. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Thank you very much. Every view, every like, every comment, every subscription, I take every single one very seriously, and it means a lot to us. So thank you very much. Again, hit that like button, comment down below, hit the subscribe if you haven't. New videos every day, no matter if I'm traveling or not, y'all. Still provide the content, okay? 12 p.m. Central Standard Time, USA. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you on the next video. As always, remember, every day's a gift. Peace from Austin.